My bridesmaid's neon hair is ruining the aesthetic of my wedding. I am getting married this fall, Rona willing. One member of the wedding party has neon yellow-green hair and has said they plan on keeping that color for the foreseeable future, including for the wedding. I did not know this person had dyed their hair until after I'd asked them to be in the wedding party. They've dyed their hair a few times in the past but never their whole head, more of just highlights or ombre and low-key stuff, and never a color this bright, so honestly, I just didn't see it coming. Everyone else has more muted colors of hair and the dress's tuxes are also on the gray scale, so it's going to stand out. I know it's just hair, it's their choice, and I am trying to be as respectful as possible. However, I also frankly don't want to look at my wedding pictures for the rest of my life and have the first thing I notice be their neon freaking hair. It seriously draws the eye. Ideas we have come up with to mitigate this one. Make all the photos of the wedding party be in black and white too. Ask the photographer to edit this person's hair to a not neon yellow-green color, which may also be an move. Still feel weird about that? Opinions welcome. Or 3. The option someone proposed that I'm really conflicted about. Ask the person to wear a wide lace headband or wrap that covers most of their hair, and style it pulled back, so it's more or less tucked away for most of the pictures. If it matters, we bought rented dresses and tuxes for everyone, and would pay for this accessory too, and we are paying for hair to be done professionally for the wedding party, because if I'm going to ask people to look a certain way for an event for me, I don't want to then force them to pay to do it. But I can't tell if this would be taking my input a step too far. It was a little awkward when I asked how long they were planning to keep their hair neon, and I just asked coming from a place of curiosity, not asking specifically about the wedding, so I think they might get mad at me if I ask them to more or less hide it. Would I be the idiot if I asked this person to wear a hairpiece style that covers most of their neon hair for my wedding? Edit: to clarify, I'm asking would I be the idiot for asking them to consider a hairpiece that covers a lot of their hair, pulls it back from their face, not telling them this is what I want or they'll be out of the wedding. If they're not comfortable with the hairpiece, then I'd ask how they'd feel if there was editing color balance adjustment to the photos to tone it down, and if that's still a no, then we just pick black and white photos. We get one professional album with our photography pack, so we just make the whole thing black and white photos. We'd still have digital copies of all the photos, color and not, just the ones we'd hang in our house and stuff would probably be black and white. No one is getting kicked out of the wedding for how they look. No one is going to be forced to do anything. Now for the comments. Commenter: do you think they won't tone it down for the wedding? Original poster: they have an important event shortly after the wedding, so I was like, oh hey, what are you thinking hair-wise for that event? And they were like, oh, definitely keeping it the way it is now. So, I know for a fact this will be the color it is. If they had planned to dye it less neon for that event anyway, I was just going to ask if they'd be willing to make the switch before the wedding. Obviously, I cannot ask them to dye their hair. I was only hoping they might want to change anyway, given they might not want it neon for the other event, but especially since they wanted neon for that after the wedding, I know it's neon for sure. Commenter info: do you have a response ready for if she says no? No, I do. It's here either way, it's your wedding, you can do what you want. But just curious, is this more of a question or an ultimatum? Meaning covers your hair or you're out of the wedding party. Original poster: oh goodness no. If they don't want to cover it, I will ask how they feel about it, the photographer editing it to tone it down, unless the consensus is that is also out of line to ask. If they don't like that either, then we will just pick all black and white versions of photos for the wedding album that's provided as part of our photography package. Commenter: you're the idiot. If you're picking your wedding party based on aesthetics, drop this person. If you chose this person based on a relationship, the person comes hair and all. Explaining yourself is an option which may bring a favorable outcome. However, it's possible to lose a relationship. Original poster: it's not a matter of being in or out of the wedding party. This person is in the wedding party no matter what. Even if they decided to shave the sides and have a hot pink and black mohawk day of, I'd be irked, but we'd roll with it. I'm asking if it's a nah move to ask them to consider covering it. If they don't want to cover it, then we'll just use black and white photos. Update: my original post didn't get a ton of responses, but I really appreciated the people who did respond, and I wanted to share an update since the situation is fully resolved. While the top comments were no, I do, it's here or not the idiot, I read every comment and I got a lot of different perspectives, and I continued to think on the situation and reflect on what you all said. I had a realization that I was putting all my stress and anxiety about life and the wedding, as well as my frustration with some unrelated rude, hurtful things my friend had done, into my frustration with the hair situation, because it was an easy thing to be upset about. I did some deep breathing and decided it wasn't worth saying anything about covering the hair. For my mental health, I needed to just let it go and let everything else go too. My wedding day was amazing. I am so glad to not only be married, but also be done with wedding planning and moving and all of it, cause holy heck, it was a lot. Some people said I was shallow to even care about the hair pictures at all, and yeah, I probably am. I accept that. The hair does stand out a lot in the color pictures and the person had their natural roots which looked absolutely awful. I'm not going to lie, I found it incredibly rude they dyed their hair neon and then didn't even bother to make sure it was maintained for being in a wedding. But in black and white everything looks totally fine, and I love black and white pictures anyway. They also got married a bit after my wedding. The bitchy voice in my head couldn't help but note that they bothered to get their roots done for their own wedding. I complained to my husband a bit in our hotel room after the rehearsal. Got it out of my system. Had a great time in their wedding. I guess all this to say, whether or not it would have been a nah move to ask them to cover their hair, as people pointed out, it wasn't worth it. The hair did bother me, I am a little shallow, I am a little selfish. But it wasn't as big of a deal as I was making it out to be. It was better to keep all shallow, selfish, and bitchy thoughts to myself and my husband, work on acceptance, and move on. Writing this is my closure. I will spare no more thoughts or energy for the neon hair. Thank you all for helping me find perspective. Edit just to clarify some questions I've seen come up, since people have cared enough to message me about it. Why do I think it was rude not to dye their roots? Would I have paid for it? Did I pay for things for them to be in the wedding? Were our weddings far apart enough? Etc. I paid for everything I could to help take off the burden, dresses, tuxes, hair, even offered people places to stay if they didn't want to do a hotel. If they'd told me it was a money issue, I'd gladly have paid for the roots to be done too if they told me they needed help. I know people are in various financial situations. I told my wedding party if there were any financial challenges coming up and being a part of my wedding to please tell me and I would help because I didn't want it to be a burden. I think when you are in a wedding you are agreeing to maintain your appearance and hygiene for that day, you're going to shower before, you're going to brush your hair and teeth, you're going to do what you need to do to be presentable. In my perspective, if you dye your hair a very attention-grabbing color that differs dramatically from your natural hair color, then you make sure the dye job looks decent and well done and not an inch grown out, and that's part of looking presentable for a formal event. The weddings were months apart. They got the roots touched up not too long after my wedding and then again the weekend of their wedding. I felt it was rude because it was clear the person did consider it something important to do for other events in their life, just not my wedding. And that to me shows a lack of care, especially when again, I would have paid for it. Additionally, I was in their wedding and paid for my dress and for their bachelorette party. They did not contribute to or come to mine. And you know what, all that is fine. They're well in their right to do whatever they want with their money and their hair, it's just it all added up in me, knowing them, knowing their situation, I found it rude. It is what it is with respect to that friend. I am unbelievably happy with my wedding day and my black and white pictures, and I'm so grateful to be married and to have had all my friends by my side for the day, regardless of their hair.